You look at that. Beautiful day in Florida. Oh, it's nice blue skies. I love it. I love it. Oh, this door keeps breaking. This thing keeps like ripping off when the wind hits it. I think it's because it doesn't latch. So today we are going to be taking apart the motor out of the Miata. I don't know that we'll get all the way through it today. We will this video, but I've got holiday stuff to do tonight, Christmas party thing. So it's like Matt always says, and like I've kind of adopted, it's just a little a day goes a long way. So if I can put an hour into getting this thing on the stand, the trans off and all that stuff today, it makes my job easier for tomorrow instead of being like, oh, I don't have the time to do it all today, so I'll wait till tomorrow. First thing we're gonna do, turn this around so you can see without the overexposure, pull the accessory drive off, intake manifold off, just pull pretty much all the peripherals off, trans and everything, and then we'll yank it out of here, get it on the stand, and then we can tear into it. So yeah, I'm gonna start tearing it down. Got all the externals ripped off. I did have a rear leak. It was a decent one. It looks like it was from the pan, but the rear main is also wet down here, so it could have been from, oh yeah, the rear main's super wet down there. So it's probably rear main, possibly pan gasket. We needed to fix that either way. When I put this rear main seal on, everyone told me I did it wrong because the seal flips backwards. And everyone's like, you did it wrong, so I took it back apart with the pan already on. I didn't want to have to take the pan back off and realized there was no other way to do it. Looked it up, found out it was a revised design, and that was correct. That was the only way to put it on, put it back together. And I think in doing all of that, I just caused a leak because you have to RTV these corners, and I just kind of sketchily threw it back together. So anyway, I'll be able to fix that at least. But now we got to get the Subaru motor off the stand over there so we can put this thing on the stand, put the Subaru motor somewhere, get it off the subframe, put the subframe somewhere. I'm running out of room. I got all these parts to put up on my shelf. I never intended on having more than one car completely apart, but we've got the Subaru stuff completely apart here, and then this is the Miata shelf with it completely apart, so we're running out of space. And then this is just random stuff. Then more Subaru stuff up there, Miata bumper. Anyway, get this thing on the stand. Engine is on the stand, subframe is on the ground. Subaru's on a little roller. Oh man, it's funny, when I took the Subaru apart, I obviously didn't plan this. So now I got two cars taken apart, two engines out, two engines that need gone through. Whatever. It always works that way. It's either I feel like I have nothing to do or nothing I can do, and then I have way too much to do. Of the two, I would pick way too much to do. So anyway, engine is on the stand. I'm gonna go ahead and call it for today. I'll pick this back up tomorrow and we'll start tearing into it. Get it all taken down to a bare block, check it out, see where we're at. We're gonna learn a lot. We'll see kind of where the bearing failures were, how bad they were. We'll be able to check out a lot of stuff. And then obviously I had to pull all my stuff off this. So see you guys in the morning. All right, it's another beautiful day. It is really a beautiful day. Ben's got his Beamer back up and running. Let me sit in this beast. Gangster lean back there, brother.
Yeah, buddy.
This has been style. This thing's pretty dope, dude. I mean, it would be sick with like a turbo LS, but
it could definitely be like a lot cooler and a lot nicer.
It's solid though. It's nicer than I thought it was.
Pretty dope.
Yeah, you got a V12. All right, we're gonna tear into the LS 5.3, whatever you want to call it. I've never gone past taking the oil pan off this engine, so I'm really interested to see what it looks like with the heads off. I have a suspicion that we might have had a blown head gasket. I'm not 100% sure, but there was always water in the exhaust on startup, and the oil was really gross, but it could just be bearing gross, and it was getting hot, not wanting to cool down, so maybe we flooded the oil system with water, and it thinned out. I mean, I have no idea. There's a lot of things that could be wrong, and we will find those things out when we rip this thing apart. So anyway, let's dig right in. We'll go ahead and yank the valve covers off. Motor was, when I first got it out, to see if like a push rod was bent or something, but I mean, we know that the oil had a lot of metal in it, so we know that rod bearings are probably trashed. Back, driver's side, front. We're experiencing technical difficulties. Crank pulley is being a complete pain. First try it broke one of the tabs off that the jaw puller hooks onto. So we've been trying a bunch of different ways. It's not going well, so I'll get back to you guys when we get it off, because we have to get it off to get the cam out, take the crank out. It's got to come off. Might have to weld to it. I don't know. We'll find out. Sandy came out and said we're doing a terrible job. Sandy. What? Doing tricks for the camera. We already tried that. It didn't work. One broken proper crank pulley puller and a not correct but worked way better crank pulley puller later, and a lot of, probably have a whole tank of map gas. Crank pulley is off. I think because the way it was pinned, I think it like bit the pin a little bit and like seized it up and didn't want to come off. So anyway, I can actually get back to disassembling the engine. It's like an hour delay. This is why this pan thing is amazing. You take your water pump bolts, run them into the cam, gives you like a nice little handle, pull the cam out with. Can you guys see all this? Are you getting this? You can't really see it, can you? Oh God, drop you down some. You can see that, right? Is that good? You guys close enough? So here's our cam. Obviously, this is our oil pump that we should have changed. You're just gonna kind of work it out, twist it different directions till it pops through. The lifters are all gonna be tucked down because the motor's upside down. If you were to do it right side up, you have to stick dowels in these little holes to keep the lifters from falling down. Obviously, you wanna be careful with this. Run the last one. Yeah. There's your cam. Cam looks good. Doesn't appear to have any oil starvation, death on it. Pretty much overall fine. That's good. Very good. Flip back over, do the heads. Pull the heads off first, and then we'll get to the juicy part. Also, when you're putting a motor like this on the stand, let me show you. This is something I learned from one of you guys, commented this. Very nice information. Keep it on, at least on an LS, keep it as close to the cam as possible. It's kind of your center line. So I've got it as far up as I can get it. Makes flipping it way easier. When you have it all the way down here or all the way up here, one of the directions, you've got so much weight on one end and not the other, it makes it super difficult to flip it. Now, we will tear the heads off. This is juicy too. I've never taken these heads off. Projects like this, I always start out with gloves and then I make it like this far and give up on wearing gloves because they get soaked in oil with themselves. Jeez. So what we'll look at here, it's kind of hard to tell. We'll have to look at the head, the block, and the gasket, because as you take it apart, the layers rip off. But you can generally see, like, you'll see like a combustion mark where, you know, combustion was making its way into the oil passage or oil to water. You'll be able to usually spot that on the gasket itself. I'm not really seeing anything on this one. I mean, there's a couple spots here. We'll have to look at the head. A lot of buildup in the combustion chamber, that is for sure. Like, this motor had a lot of buildup in there. One of the dirtier I've seen. I don't really see any signs of a blown head gasket on this side either. All right, let's take a look at the motor itself from the top. Ooh, that cylinder wall. Oh no, that's just gunk. Well, that's weird. We've got gunk in this cylinder. Looks like oil. Can you see that? Let me get a light. Yeah, I mean, that's got something in it. Could have come when we just pulled that off, but I don't know, I doubt it. Is that metal? Got metal in this one. Also same, could have come from the cylinder head, but I don't know. And all the cylinder walls look pretty clean. There's not much of a crosshatch left. Oh, there's a decent bit. You can see the crosshatch is still there. Something to look at. You can tell, you know, if like the factory hones are like completely gone or not. All right, let's keep moving. Go ahead and pull the mounts off, flip it over, and then we'll take the pan off and start pulling rods out. That'll be the interesting part of things. And the pump. Good to see what's wrong with the pump. Flip it. Oh, almost over-rotated it. So for all the people that told me I need baffles in my pan, it's a baffled pan. I would never have run a non-baffled. Wow, look at all that material. Where's my flashlight? Jeez Louise, that is wild. Oh, that is bad. That is bad. We're gonna have to deep clean this pan to get all of this crap out, especially out of the oil ports. I also have this. This basically very tight tolerances with the crank, so as the crank spins through, it scrapes the oil off, frees up some horsepower, helps with preventing aeration of the oil. Oh my God, look at the pickup tube. Look at that. Holy hell. Jesus, it sucked up a bunch of stuff. I don't know if that's like, it's hard to tell at this point where the failure occurred. Did like some debris get in there somehow and it suck up in the pickup, starve it of oil and blow, like screw it? Or did it just die from oil starvation for some other reason and then this is just what happened after all the bearing material got, you know, I don't know. And we are gonna have a lot of cleaning to do. This is one of those things where you'll hear a lot of people, including myself, talk about, oh, well, you know, at the end of the day, look, it's a junkyard motor, I'll throw another junkyard motor in it, you know, instead of going through and taking the time to kind of work through the engine. And while that is true, when it's an extensive swap like this, like there's a lot of stuff I gotta reuse. I've gotta reuse, you know, the crank scraper, depending on what oil system I go with. I gotta reuse the pan, I gotta reuse the cam, the springs, the true union upgrade. You know, I got a lot of stuff to take off that just had metal sent through it. Throw my oil cooler in the trash. Like, you know, it's more expensive than just another engine. Oh, also another thing I have, this is a common issue. I learned about this with Hertz car, actually. Hertz RX-7, when it was LS, it was Grid Life. It was before Hoonigans really ramped up their channel. And they did like a overnight engine swap, like Marco helped. And it was because this O-ring tore, because there's only one bolt here. And you can add this brace where it basically makes it like it's a 2-bolt pickup. I don't know why GM doesn't put a second bolt there from the factory. Like they have a threaded hole, the flange is made for it. No clue. But you add that, prevents this from tearing the O-ring. But anyway, I'm gonna start pulling the crank scraper off and then we can get the rod bearings out and such. That is bad. All right. These really 10 mils? No, 12. That's pretty, it's not toast, but that one's got a little heat on it. Always dump your pistons out before you put them down. Let's see which other ones we can get to. Yeah, I think that's a spun bearing if I ever seen one. Oh yeah, that bearing is toast. Let's get this freaking piston out of the way. So that is what a spun bearing looks like. I've seen people take motors out and look at bearings that just have like some light scratches and they're like, yeah, that's it. No, that is a spun bearing. You can see like where the heat melted it and then it started spinning around the crank because there's nothing to hold it in place. That is trashed. Let's see if I can get this one off. Yeah, look at that one. Woo! Look at that one. That's a spun bearing. That's for sure. Holy hell. Look at that. I think it's toast. Toast anonymous. Toastamundo. It's really easy to pop the pistons out of this engine for some reason. Any guesses, is the number 3 or whatever cylinder this is going to be worse? Same? Oh, I already know. It is also trashed. Oh my god. Damn. Oh, this one's even worse. Look at this.
Oh, would you look at this?
Look at this. It like welded itself together. Hold on, let me make sure you guys can see this. This is crazy. I've never seen one like this. Literally fused together, and it's like paper thin. That is crazy. That's nuts. I've never seen one that bad. Crank is obviously very scored up. Got little chunks of bearing material on my hand. All right, see if we can spin this engine over enough to get the rest of them out. About this side. Yeah, this one's good. Both of these are good. Ah, I just got oil all over my leg. I'm an idiot. Why did I do that? Get more ran. This is why I wore my crappy pants. It ripped open too. Look at that. Fin's back. Oh, no, this one's good too.
That's what happens when you get 5 psi oil pressure, brother.
You know the minimum for an LS is actually only 6 to 8 at idle. Like that's like the minimum spec. Yeah, so only 2. Cylinders 3 and 4. Those are the only ones that were bad. The rest of these are completely fine.
I got a Scotch-Brite.
Yeah, we'll just Scotch-Brite that thing. Actually, we can get sandpaper and just... And the pump appears to be okay. Not that I would use it again, but... I mean, generally when they fail, they break the gears and stuff. Okay, well, motor stripped down. Man, this one was really bad. Like this one weighs a quarter of what this half weighs because it's so much thinner. It's interesting that it was only this like crankshaft section, both of them on this. Like every other one is fine. Like the crank is perfectly clean. All the bearings look mint. Like the motor is 100% mint other than this one section. I mean, it's obviously full of metal, so that's not good, which is kind of what's steering me away from rebuilding this one. Just because like it's gonna be hard to get all the metal out. Like I can get the metal out of the pan. I won't use the heads. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna buy an L33. That's what this was supposed to be. It turned out not to be. I think it's LM4. That might be iron block. I don't remember. Aluminum block 5.3 Gen 3. The L33 has 799 heads, which are basically LS3 heads, which are really good heads. And it's got flat top pistons, so it's got 10.2 or 5 to 1 compression instead of like 9.5. So it's a little bit higher output motor. It'd be better. It'd probably be a bump in 20 to 30 horsepower with everything else the same. So I think I'm just going to try to pick up a low mileage one of those, change the pump, depending on what oiling system I go with, but change the pump, just like a ported stock pump. Just kind of check out the motor and really like not even open it up. And I know that sounds silly, but it's like head gaskets and stuff. Like if you take it apart, I feel like you're risking more it not sealing than if you just leave it. Like it probably doesn't have blown head gaskets. Don't take them apart because then you got to like clean everything up and hope that it's clean right. Hope the machine shop did their job, and then maybe not. Maybe it doesn't seal right. So to me, it's like putting in an OEM factory engine. If you're not, if it doesn't have to be built like forged bottom end, is really the way to go because it's hard to get. It's kind of like paint jobs. It's like you can get a really nice aftermarket paint job, but it's really hard to compare that to like the OEM paint job. And it's kind of the same with building an engine. You know, it's not that complicated. It's not that hard. I've built a handful of engines, but you know, it's just like, you miss one little thing and you have an issue. And that's why I kind of prefer to just slap in another engine that's already together, low mileage, and just run it. This was clearly an oil system failure, oil starvation failure. It wasn't anything to do with the engine, like the rod bearings being bad ahead of time or anything like that. It was either too little oil, which one of my theories on that is my oil cooler is higher than the pan for the most part. And I'm wondering if when the system's on, this fills up, and then when you turn it off, it all runs back to the pan. So when I check the oil level, it says it's full, but when it's actually running, it's a quart low. You know, I don't know. I'm very curious about that. So that could be part of it. Had it only full, I should have overfilled it, but I used to overfill everything, and I had some issues overfilling the Miata and it's smoking, and then the Z, if I go half a quart over full, that thing smokes like a pig until it clears it all out. I just kind of got out of the habit of doing that, but you know, it could have been half a quart low reading full. I don't know. Baffles in the pan could not be sufficient enough for what I'm doing with the car. I don't have an AccuSump or any sort of dry sump, so it's definitely an oiling system issue. I think the fastest, simplest route is to just get another engine, get an L33. I can build this one on the side if I want to build it up. You know, I can just shelf it for now and see what I want to do with it. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know your thoughts, what you think I should do. What would you do? I mean, the L33 makes sense. LS7 dry sumped. Brother, it's only 15 grand. Hell yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess I'll let you guys go unless something else interesting happens today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye.